Hi, everybody. Welcome to our weekly video chat on what's going on at tZERO. I'm here with Alan Konevsky, our EVP and Chief Legal Officer. We're going to chat about what's going on at tZERO and what's going on in the marketplace a little bit this week. Just very briefly, we're still moving forward with our Lynq project. There was a press release this week announcing a operational launch date of July 15th. That's moving forward, and we continue signing up customers or users to get ready for that. Separately, we are looking at getting back into crypto. We're very far along on that project, but before we go live with it, we want to make sure we do the right thing in terms of a user experience. And for us, that means some type of central cash management where all your money's in one place and easily flows between crypto trading and how you're going to be using our other products. So we will roll out that product as soon as we make sure that's very tight and seamless. We're working hard at it. We're very far along the way and very close right now. We have one solution we could roll out. I'm trying to make it even more seamless so we can roll out a more advantageous solution. So that you should see announcement relatively soon. We're working hard on that. Also, we're working on something new I haven't talked about before is we have a really interesting idea that we've been working on with and some partners of ours. And what we see a lot of times is when people come to us or issuers come to us, they want to raise money. They want to, whether it's for some type of thing in the sports arts entertainment we talked about, or just private companies trying to raise money. We always tell people we're really good at the infrastructure now. We feel really strong about it. We have the good technology, but we are limited to some extent by what we can market under the SEC rules. So they have to market their product. We can talk about their product in terms of it's coming on our platform in that ways, but we can't really talk about the specifics of why you should invest in that product. So we've been looking into, and we're pretty far along the way of offering a service where we would have AI bots or artificial intelligence bots help promote and market and build community for these people, which will lead to them investing. We think it's, an innovative solution. We've been working on this and we're trying to figure out the exact right pricing formula and rollout, but we think we can do this very quickly and offer an additional service so we can give more one-stop shopping to the person. When they come to us, not only can you list your primary and secondary, you can house it, we can house the product, custody it digitally, which we're really one of two only that can do that. And we can provide you with services that you can operate that will help you build a community, market, and ultimately raise capital for your firm. So we're pretty excited about that. Amazing how quickly AI is moving. Almost every day you find something new, and we're working with some partners on how to roll this out. We think this could be really exciting and, a step up for helping people raise capital on our systems. Finally, I guess we'll talk about with Alan a little bit. There's been a bunch of news, and some of it is, I'll call it a little misleading, but news in the marketplace in the last few days about, particularly from Robinhood and Republic, about offering quote unquote tokenized, which we don't believe it's really tokenized, securities in both the public and private markets. So maybe we could talk a little bit about what Robinhood announced this week. I think a little misleading even when you go to the website, unless you really dig into it. It's for non-US participants to trade what they're calling a tokenized security in the EU, and I'll have Alan, opine on his side, which is really, for lack of a better word, a solution looking for a problem. So do you want to explain a little bit about that product, Alan?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dave. And I think we and others across the industry are feeling similar frustration with some of the headlines that are accompanying these products. First of all, these are not new products. Second of all, they are not tokenized SpaceX or OpenAI or XYZ or ABC. These private companies and their shares are not being tokenized. They're not being traded. What people are investing in is a structured product, a derivative, a bet, if you think of it in a very simplistic way, on how well SpaceX does over the next X years whether it IPOs, whether it's acquired, and there's some kind of a monetization event. And if something like that happens, then there might be a payout or distribution under these types of derivative or structured products. Of course, they are intended to be traded in the secondary markets as well. So people who purchase them will have access to that pathway. But generally, you're not tokenizing SpaceX. You're not investing in SpaceX directly. You're not a SpaceX owner. If SpaceX does well, and people are betting that it will, that product should do well in the secondary market, and you might get a payout at some point as well. But it's really important to understand what you're getting into and what you're not getting into.
Yeah, I think on the European side with Robinhood, though, a lot of their products are going to be like Tesla and other stocks, public securities. For most people in Europe, they can just go to through their brokers and buy those stocks directly, as opposed to just buying a tokenized version through what they're calling a tokenized version, which to me looks like what we used to call as a CFD, cash for difference contract, which has been around forever in the derivative space. It looks more like a derivatives future than it does a true stock trade. Just to be clear, when I say they're not tokenized stock securities in these underlying companies. They're tokenized derivatives or cash for difference products, but they're not really, when people think of tokenized stock, this isn't stock on a blockchain being tokenized. Am I right in that, Alan? You think that's the best way to describe it?
100%. And I think a lot of the benefits that people talk about tokenizing private companies, including transparency into the capital structure, are not really present here. The actual derivative is tokenized itself, and that that can have some use cases on chain. But the bigger story around why you tokenize a company and the benefits that come with it are not really present here.
Right. I mean, some of the things when we think about you can tokenize stock, you could do your voting, for example, via elements on the blockchain. There's lots of, the owner of record issues are much more easily done on blockchain. These products don't address that. So, technically, do they even have to be tokenized? No, because they're not adding any advantage by being tokenized. So when we talk about it, we're thinking about the way the smart contract functions you can add on a blockchain to a product would enhance the reason and the viability, frankly, for the product to really grow and flourish.
Yeah, that's right, David. I think it's for these structured notes or derivatives that relate to existing public companies, the use case becomes even more obscure because most investors, whether they're US or non-US based, could get access to buying Tesla directly. So to buy a derivative that's linked one-to-one to Tesla shares and doesn't provide additional leverage or other features that you could have in more interesting structured products. Again, it's a solution in search of a problem in many cases from our perspective, at least for public equities.
Right. So what we're looking about in this space is, at least the products we're exploring and looking to roll out would be things that are true tokenization type products that would be on the blockchain and digitally custody. I would just mention on the Republic product, you can buy it, but you can't trade it on the secondary, as we understand, at least reading through the materials, for over 1 year. You're kind of, buying it and you have to hold it for a year. Anyways, there'll be more to come from us on this topic and some of the solutions we're going to be offering within particularly the private sector, but just kind of give you our thoughts because I know there's a lot of chatter out there. Other than that, I hope everyone has a good long weekend for those in the U.S. We look forward to chatting with you next week. Thanks again, Alan, and thanks everyone for their time and listening to us.
Thank you, David.